Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and today we're going to do a creative spiral centerpiece utilizing some grapevine as a structure. But to start off with, I'm just starting with a basic basket here, kind of a value basket, but we're going to be using the Renewal foam, the new foam from Smithers Oasis. It's a plant-based foam that's non-toxic. And so you can see that it soaks into a nice dark black color, and it has very similar structure to like midnight foam or your standard foam that you use. So to start off with, I took a portion of a grapevine wreath and I soaked this in water, and then I'm going to just take the end piece and come in and bring it into the foam, and you can see how that goes on there, but I want a little bit more height and volume. So I'm going to use some ends of a birch branch to just elevate that a little bit. We're going to be poking our flowers through, so we're going to be able to utilize the structure of the grapevine wreath to hold that too. So just coming in, and you can see how I'm just using that V to be able to elevate a portion of that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of bind wire and just attach that to that structure so that it's a sound mechanic. And then we're going to add into the middle, we're going to add in a moss. This is a mood moss, and this becomes my like do not use zone. So that's going to give me negative space within the middle of the composition so that I can spiral my flowers and create a unique design, and be able to utilize that negative space to increase the perceived value. And so you can see how I just tied those on in two spots. It feels like it will be structurally sound, so I think that's going to be enough. Then from there, what we're going to start doing is putting our florals in a spiral pattern. So I'm going to come through this structure, the armature that we created with the grapevine, and just start to weave in some of these foliages, and you keep going in the same direction so that you start to see that composition of the spiral develop. And here I can pull some of this down, some of it up, but so you see how that starts forming. This is a weeping podocarpus, and you can see it has a little bit more of a dark green, richer color. And so just a little bit of an update from, like we've seen a lot of people using the gray tones of the eucalyptus, but I see the stronger, richer greens definitely coming in. So you can see how easily that came together. And then we're going to add some other unique elements. So these are leucadendrons, and they have a really strong stem. So they will also become part of my structure so that I can spread out. Let's see what's here. I got to keep turning this toward me so that I keep making sure, utilizing a turntable, you can kind of keep spinning it very easily so that you keep that pattern going in that same circular pattern. And then we want to come in with some other textural elements. These are Montbrisia pods, and so they'll add visual interest and that textural element and kind of help to enhance that spiral that we've got going. Our next element that we want to add in is this beautiful butter yellow rose, creme de la creme. And this is kind of a trending color that we see. So you can see how beautifully they open up. And so I'm just going to bring those in as features throughout here. And we're just kind of coming in with that, continuing that spiral pattern. And got some up, and then I'm going to bring two of them down a little bit lower. So coming through that structure, get it. Make sure to get that in the foam. And then another textural element is the green trick dianthus. This is something, it's a long-lasting feature, and it always makes people want to touch the arrangement. So it's kind of like that pillow where you want to just rest your head on it. But as you see, when I'm putting these elements in, I'm kind of going up and down on the placement and in and out. And so that I create that pattern and visual interest throughout. So we've got some butter yellow stock, and you can see how that definitely enhances that spiral pattern. And you can see that I'm not going into the middle where I've got that moss. A little tricky to get it through the armature, but you want to make sure that we have nice deep insertions so that we have a long-lasting product for our customers. And so, but this will be a more unique centerpiece that becomes more of a conversation piece, not only a centerpiece. And when you have some of your local guests at your dinner table, what you want them to be doing is talking about your unique arrangement. So embracing some of these different styles is a great way to create those conversation pieces. And then a couple of the orange celosia. These are going to be the anchors. So now you see I've got a little bit of the brown tone in the leucadendron. That brings in that tropical influence. Now I'm going to come in with a couple other visual interest pieces. The celosia, these are a little bit of a focal flower, but now adding in that richer color. And then I'm going to go into some of the new mums. So you can see the breeders, just like the carnation breeders, embraced a lot of new varieties. Our chrysanthemum breeders are doing the same thing. So we've got sizes from disc buds, some bronze buttons. Then we go into some smaller daisy-like, and then some micro palms. So although these are value flowers and chrysanthemums, look at the visual interest that that's going to add into this composition and really enhance it, and it'll make it a really long-lasting centerpiece. So let's add those next. So here you can see that variety of palms added in, and you see how much visual interest that adds. We're just going to add one last dancing element, and these are the Crispidia, and they're another thing that people love to touch and want to know what it is. They look like little baby tennis balls, but they do last a really long time, and you can see how they just kind of dance above the design and really add that visual interest into this composition. So that's a little bit of our finishing touch here. And so now you can see our whole composition, just how that spiral is repeated. You have that negative space down in the middle that increased that perceived value. Did that placement up and down, and embracing that simple grapevine armature. And so I hope that you'll take this idea to create some spiral centerpieces for your customers.